Welcome to our podcast, proudly sponsored by Victoria Park Medispas, recognized as Canada's top medispa. With 23 premier locations across 3 provinces, Victoria Park Medispa is dedicated to providing you with industry-leading expertise and the most comprehensive array of treatments tailored to your unique needs.
I did go to the North Pole on a humanitarian mission, and I still remember. I still even get goosebumps. So I was 10 days on the ice. Just sunscreen, right? And we didn't bathe or shower because we just sort of wiped at the end of the day. And I came into the hotel in Resolute Bay, and I was scared to look because my hair was dirty, but my skin was absolutely glowing.
Oh wow!
It was the most beautiful.
Despite the cold, you didn't have rosacea and dry skin.
It wasn't windy. It's
okay.
And in the north, it's a dry cold. So
Okay.
it's the damp cold that's actually worse. Ooh. And it wasn't windy, and we had pretty good weather. My skin was glowing.
Wow.
Oh, an extraordinary.
So welcome to our first episode of the Victoria Park Medispas podcast, Owning Extraordinary. Mm-hmm. I'm Shadi, and I'm very excited to be here with Dr. Skotnicki and my amazing co-host, Karine.
Thank you, Shadi. I'm super excited as well. So in full disclosure, this is our first official podcast. So we'll tell the audience a little bit about us before we jump into the meat of the subject. We've both been working at Victoria Park Medispa for over 5 years. And interestingly enough, when we first started just a short 5 years ago, we only had 3 clinics across one province, essentially, 3 clinics in Montreal. And then fast forward 5 years, and now we have 23 clinics across 3 provinces. I think 3 is our lucky number now that I think of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've experienced exponential growth at Vic Park. You're the head of retail. I'm the head of marketing. And so we've taken it upon ourselves to educate the world about topics that you and I discuss all the time.
All the time.
And we just want to share this knowledge because we really do have amazing experts that work with us. And so we wanted to share the love with our audience.
So that's right. And today we're very lucky because we have Dr. Skotnicki with us, our very own Dr. Skotnicki. I'm going to read this part because the biography and the curriculum of Dr. Skotnicki is quite extensive and quite,
we don't want to forget
extraordinary.
Anything.
So we don't want to forget anything. So Dr. Skotnicki is a renowned dermatologist, we all know, based in Toronto, Canada. She's widely recognized for her expertise in allergic skin diseases, occupational skin disorders, and cosmetic dermatology. So she's particularly known in her focus on minimalistic skincare and her advocacy for simplifying skincare routines to avoid overloading the skin with products. So she's the founder of the Bay Dermatology Center, now Victoria Park Medispa in Toronto. She serves as the medical director of our brand new downtown Toronto flagship clinic located at 483 Bay Street. So feel free to go and visit. It's going to be such a beauty too. She has authored the book Beyond Soap, The Real Truth About What You're Doing to Your Skin and How to Fix It with Beautiful Healthy Glow, which emphasizes the importance of understanding the impact of modern skincare products on skin health. So she's a very trusted voice in dermatology, having served as a consultant to major skincare brands like Bioderma, CeraVe, Lubriderm, and now she's one of our very own advisors on our skincare line, MD Formula by Victoria Park Lab. So Dr. Skotnicki is also an assistant professor in the Department of Medicine at the University of Toronto, and she has contributed significantly to dermatological research and education. Her approach often challenges conventional skincare practices, encouraging patients to adopt more mindful and effective routines.
Wow.
On top of all that, you've been widely featured in media outlets such as the New York Times, The Guardian, Elle Canada, and you've even been on Netflix on the series Skin Explained. In addition, Dr. Skotnicki is known for her humanitarian work, having participated in medical missions to Haiti and raising funds for Canadian veterans through expeditions to the North Pole. So welcome, Dr. Skotnicki, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you very much for that very extensive I was on Netflix for like a nanosecond, but hey, it's okay.
I mean, if you can, claim it, scream it loud and clear, right?
I know. Yeah. It's so funny when you do those things, they interview for 2 hours and then they cut it down and,
right.
And I think I had 3 sentences, but I was the only dermatologist. So that was cool.
I've never been on Netflix.
Yeah,
so.
I've never been either. So
thank you. That was really
even for a second. Yeah,
exactly.
That was a great intro.
So thank you. We're here to speak, obviously, skincare today, debunk myths and talk about, skincare, deep dive into the science of having like a healthy, glowy skin. So welcome. We're going to start with, different, we wanted to address different topics today, addressing everything that we read, everything that we see on social media or, around around us. So I'll let Karine start. The first subject that we thought was, relevant to speak about is the radiant skin, which is everybody's talking about. So
yeah. Well, from on social media, from glass skin to glowy skin, we've even heard of like influencers spritzing their faces with water and Vaseline before they turn on their ring light to have that healthy looking glow.
Right.
And speaking of healthy, I'm sure that, psychologically, the reason why we want radiant skin is because it does scream health.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what radiant skin really is. We will dive into skincare later, but what I want to know and what everybody wants to know, I think, is do products actually help with radiant skin?
Right. Well, I mean, radiant skin is simply healthy skin. It's another sort of marketing ploy kind of thing.
Right.
But I mean, it is gone sort of next level where you kind of almost want a glow, like it's but not you don't want to be greasy.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to have that sort of almost luminescence, right? So how do you get that? Well, certainly putting a bit of Vaseline on before you go would give it to you, but who wants to do that? I think, again, if we just go back to basics, radiant skin is healthy skin. So healthy skin, if your skin barrier is very intact and healthy, you won't have rough skin, right? You'll be smooth, right? If skin is smooth, then it's going to be well hydrated. You're not going to have any cracks. You're not going to have a lot of pigmentation, and that's going to look radiant.
And that reflects light.
That reflects light, yes.
Right.
So obviously, things that hydrate your skin. But this whole concept of skin barrier, right, is really just about moisturizing the skin. And when you wash and clean, you actually disrupt your skin barrier. Pollution can disrupt your skin barrier. UV light can. So, or UV sun rays. So radiant skin is healthy skin that's smooth and not bumpy, not pigmented, not oily. So basically healthy. Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that contribute to healthy skin. Like we know drinking water, having like a healthy lifestyle. What about skincare? What's the skincare portion?
Yeah, you asked me about, so how do we get radiant skin? So you want healthy skin, you want a skin barrier that's intact. How can you do that with products? Well, number one, we want to use our sunscreen so that we don't have red and blotchy skin or pigmented skin. And then things that hydrate. So good hydration is, with hyaluronic acid, right? Things like humectants that draw water into the skin. Then you may want to peel and you want to exfoliate, but you don't want to overdo that because then that won't give you help. You disrupt your skin barrier. So a little bit of exfoliation with glycolic acids or polylactic acids. Then of course retinol, and then peptides are really hot right now. They will give you some moisturization, but they also are going to stimulate collagen and elastin production without any irritation, without any exfoliation. And then sort of going next level is this whole concept of actually putting tiny aliquots of hyaluronic acid into the skin, just under the skin boosting. So I think skin boosting is kind of really fun, and that's a really amazing way to get some radiant, glowing skin.
And just for our audience, that's with an injection.
Yeah,
there's a brand called Skin Boosters or other brands as well. And they're injections in the skin so that you're sort of creating that hydration under the dermis.
Just right under the skin. It's basically the same thing that people know as filler, but it's very dilute. Doesn't really give you any volume, and you put tiny little aliquots just under. You put, almost like do a grid on the skin, and you put tiny little aliquots on it. It really does give you a glow.
Okay.
For sure.
And how often would one do that per year?
Well, there's various. You can do it, several times over 3 or 4 months. You could do it once every 6 months. You do whatever works for you, but you can do it more regularly because it doesn't last as long because it's not cross-linked.
And we have like a variety of people that watching like and listening to this podcast. So let's say we want to create like the best routine for skincare, but also like, skin in general. What would be your recommendation in terms of ingredients, like the basis, even
for radiant skin?
For radiant skin, for healthy, glowy, radiant skin.
Well, a lot of times patients will come in and say, what's the best moisturizer? And I flip it back and I always say, it's not what's the best, it's about what's the best for you. Because everybody's very different. I mean, if you look at the science of ingredients, the only ingredients that really have truly good double-blind, randomized controlled trials is retinol. Okay, but a lot of people can't tolerate retinol. So it's not a one size fits all. But if I had to put it in a list, retinol, vitamin C, stable vitamin C, 10 to 15%. Obviously sunscreen, that should be number one. After that, we have peptides. And then moisturizers like hyaluronic acid, and then other exfoliators like glycolic acid and various forms of, there's fruit acids now. A lot of those are available. Beta hydroxy acid, which is salicylic acid. So those are sort of the ingredients that have some science. And you want to work that into, like, if you can, you ask any dermatologist around the world, they use vitamin C, sunscreen, retinol. Right? If a lot of people can't tolerate vitamin C and retinol, they don't like the smell or it burns or stings or retinol is drying. So then you would substitute peptide.
For the retinol.
Yeah. Or, and you might exfoliate with the beta or glycolic a couple times a week. So again, it's the ingredients are those, but what's best for you really depends on you.
And there's lots of new ingredients also on the market. Like I know, and I don't want to overflow with lots of information, but there's bakuchiol. That's an alternative for retinol. For all these new ingredients, how do you recommend people to look at them? Like, do you think we should go blindly using them in our routine, or should we wait? Because there's so many new things.
That's actually very good point. I probably should have added that. There are lots of retinol alternatives now. So you can still get the retinol with using bakuchiol. And there is a published good study with comparing bakuchiol to retinol. And it is as efficacious. So bakuchiol is from Ayurvedic medicine. It's what we call a functional analog. So it binds to retinol receptors in the skin, but it's not retinol. It's on a retinol base. Kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing those everywhere. And I think that's a great alternative. If you can't use retinol, you could substitute that. Yeah. And it is similar in efficacy.
So we had actually a fun game prepared.
We did. We can do it again.
We'll do it again because we wanted you to rate the ingredients from 1 to, I think, 10 or 1 to 7.
Yes.
But we'll do it regardless because I think it's fun. And I think there's more ingredients that also we want to talk. And we can talk a little bit, as Karine mentioned, about treatments. So this is like the baseline skincare routine: retinol, vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, peptides, if you want to like stimulate the collagen. What about treatments? When should you start with what? Not to be too much, because a lot of people want to be, maybe more conservative.
It's such a hard question. And we had a wonderful derm from New York, Doris Day. I don't know if you know her. And we had this question, like, what do you, I had a 22-year-old yesterday wanting Botox, right? So it's a challenge. And I think, again, you have to take each patient for face value. So, and I don't turn young people away as much as I used to, because if I don't do something, they're going to go somewhere else. And they might get taken advantage of. So I might, I gave this 22-year-old a little bit of Botox around her eyes.
Yeah.
And then she said, what else can I do? I said, well, you can do some microneedling, or maybe we have the Bella facial in our office, or, or I think you have Clear and Brilliant in some of your other clinics. So those types of things, right? And then of course, good skincare, a sunscreen, and, in your 20s, you don't need necessarily vitamin C, although there's some studies to show vitamin C actually can even work like as a sunscreen in a way. It can decrease the erythema MED response to the skin. So there's nothing wrong with using a bit of vitamin C. I don't think they need the high end one or the high concentration one. And then I had her, she was slightly acne prone, so we got her on some Retin-A. But your question was what age to start? Again, it's very variable. Like if you have somebody with melasma, they might be very young, so we could start some microneedling regularly. They may be freckled from their youth and they don't like it, so we could do some IPL or BBL, intense pulse light, for those listeners who aren't familiar. And then there's any number of ingredients or treatments as you get into your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Right. I mean, and again, it depends on. It's not about what's the best; it's what's the best for you. What are your problems? What are your issues? And you also have to be very careful about, there's a great episode of, did you guys ever watch Sex and the City?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you know the one where Samantha goes to the plastic surgeon to ask a specific question? One question she wanted asked, I don't even know what it was or answered. And he wrote all over her, like all over her face, on her body, everything that he would do to her.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, I had no idea that was wrong with, that was what was wrong with me. I thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why, it really left a impression on me. So I often even tell patients this little story and I say, let's start with what's bothering you. Yeah. And Dr. Day also says, let's look at your best features. What are your best features?
I love that.
So let's look at what's great and let's look at what's sort of bothering you. Let's not me point out everything that I think is wrong, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. So again, it's really comes down to what's best for the patient.
I have so much to say and so much to ask you, but I think what we're seeing also is the other side of that is patients sometimes come in with exactly what they want, and it's not necessarily good for them.
Or what they need.
Or what they need. That's right.
Like I had one lady come in and say, I want Kate Moss's cheekbones. I said, well, I can't do that, but I can make yours look more like, we'll discuss what it is you're looking for. But so right away, you know that that's a body dysmorphia. Like they're not going to be happy with anything you do, because she's not going to get Kate Moss's cheekbones.
I'm assuming your job these days is a lot more difficult than it may have been in the past, just because consumers are so much more informed and sometimes opinionated without necessarily having, the proper background or the proper research. How do you navigate? How do you deal with that?
I try to empower the positive and not be too negative, because if you're too negative, they'll go somewhere else. Because you got to listen to them. But I like this young girl. She was like, I have this little line here, and I go, okay, I didn't really see it, but we had to talk about it. We had to address about it. She was like, all prevention. And I said, well, it was sunscreen, vitamin C, so you just repeat again. But when they come in with very defined, I want this. Sometimes it's challenging, especially if they don't need it.
And so that also brings me, if we flip back to products for a second, is on the consumer side, like as a consumer myself, say, it's very hard to navigate and it's very overwhelming.
It is.
All the ingredients that you guys just named. Right. I mean, it's there's a PhD in there in and of itself, right? It's very difficult to navigate. So does every patient need to see a dermatologist to kind of know, what would you recommend, for if you had daughters or your son's friends, like what would you recommend them to do? Go to a pharmacy, go to a retail department, get advice, or would you recommend that everybody does see a dermatologist to get their basis sorted out?
So let's talk about the first thing you said is it's actually not that complicated. Okay. So it's sunscreen in the morning and something at night. Okay. So let's, and then you can add the vitamin C before your sunscreen. So anybody can do vitamin C, any age group. Okay. I think I used to be like, you don't really need it. You're not in your 30s, but the studies came out showing that stable vitamin C, 15 to 20% can decrease. MED is your response to how red you get when you have ultraviolet light, and it can decrease that. So it is acting somewhat like a sunscreen. So, because it's powerful antioxidant. So that is like a no-brainer. An antioxidant, if you don't like vitamin C, you could use some other antioxidant. That's something you could ask somebody at the retail place you're at, or if you're at an esthetician or your derm, and then sunscreen. And then at nighttime, it's either retinol or a peptide. Okay. Everything else, like there are other things, and they're more fluffy. But really, that's the base of it.
I feel so much better just hearing it like that. I feel like my anxiety has gone down with all these choices.
Well, my issue is that I have too much product now, so I'm like, maybe I should.
Well, but the other thing is so that's just the basics, right? But then a lot of this is fun. And that's where the kids come in, like the tweens, and they want the mask, and they want this and that. And there's nothing wrong with it, but that's not about what you need and what your skin health needs. It's the self-care part, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so you can add other stuff, like there's something that tweens really like from Korea that's like a strawberry thing, and So have fun, right? And as long as, and maybe we could chat about that. I did a whole episode on my podcast on tween skincare, but they really don't need the retinols and and that kind of stuff. And the vitamin C, they probably, if you're 9, you don't really need that. You just need your sunscreen. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. As far as going to a dermatologist, I think if you're really, really passionate, and some people are very passionate about skincare and they are very knowledgeable, and sometimes they're getting too much information from too many different places, it is helpful to see a dermatologist.
Right.
Some derms can't be bothered with, like, some of the real grassroots derms who don't do cosmetics. They will just say, wear sunscreen.
Right.
So that won't necessarily be very helpful.
That's where a Medispa comes in.
Yeah. So a dermatology clinic that sort of has their hands in both areas, I think, is a good place to start. If you're really passionate, if you're really confused and you don't want to go and spend tons of money at Sephora or wherever, then go and speak to a dermatologist.
Yeah.
Good thing I want to spend a lot of money at Sephora. So
we're well surrounded, Shadi and I. You and I are a little bit lucky.
So it leads us to my next question. Is you're a dermatologist, and we see a lot now dermatology approved. Dermatologist approved.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And is this true? Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Well, it's not. You know that because this is what you do. It is there's no legal ramification for putting that on. What it often means is a derm has looked over the formulation and said, okay, it looks okay to me. A lot of derms actually don't know a lot about formulation. I mean, I'm one of the few, and so it doesn't always hold a lot. It's really a marketing term. So I tell my patients to be very careful about that.
And what about clinically proven? Is it the same thing?
So again, none of that stuff is mandated by law, like Health Branch Canada, so you can't put that on a bottle. So what that usually means is there could be some in-house studies, right? So they took 20 people. The company, let's call it Company X. I mean, we won't use that with Elon. Company A, and they take 20 people and they try their product on something, and then they have someone in house. It's not randomized. It's not blinded. So those studies don't hold a lot of weight. So it could be clinically proven, but clinically proven by who and by what?
Yeah.
So again,
methodology.
So it doesn't always hold water. Yeah.
I worked at a large packaged goods company that will remain unnamed, and also sometimes it was, you have to be careful also the language around. Sometimes it was a lot about the appearance of something that's been clinically proven. So the appearance of wrinkles has been reduced. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, it could be beauty's in the eye of the beholder too.
Right.
Who's judging this?
That what you just said there, that would be a small in-house study done by the company.
Exactly.
Yeah, not blinded, not randomized. Yeah. I mean, because those types of studies are very expensive to do.
Absolutely.
And to get a high enough, what we call power is how many people are in the study to actually mean something, hold some water, it's robust. It's expensive. You need hundreds of people, and they have to be randomized. So some people get just the placebo thing, right? So I think it's not doesn't mean nothing, but it's should it qualify a cream to be $300 or something because they did some little study? Not necessarily.
That's why I guess when we were talking earlier about the ingredients, those have been studied, correct?
Yes.
But the ingredient themselves have been studied.
Yeah, but then again, how do you put the ingredients together? Are they stable? Like if we're talking about vitamin C. Oh, sure. I mean, like vitamin C, and maybe Shadi, you could talk about the MD formula one a little bit, but it has to. Vitamin C is very photosensitive. Like it'll degrade easily. So the packaging has to be opaque. It has to be in an acidic environment, or it's not stable. So I actually don't recommend a lot of the vitamin C brands to patients, not simply because I think they're bad. I just don't know whether there's any stable vitamin C in there because they haven't given me the study. So the ones I recommend, they have shown me, okay, here's a study. This is how much vitamin C is in the bottle after 3 months.
Yeah, tell us about the MDF vitamin C.
It took us 10 years to develop that formula, so it was quite extensive. I wasn't there; like it was started by a dermatologist and someone who was passionate about non-toxic medical graded product, and so they developed that formula, being 15% of vitamin C. So they wanted to be efficient. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of things that we don't know, right, on how to formulate product and how to measure the efficacy. Me too. Like I used to work also in a large company, and all these things were not, shared with us.
Yeah.
But pH, as you say, like the level of acidity when you do formulate a product is really important. And our vitamin C's, like labs gave range. Like they never give you like a specific. Because legally they need you just need to be between this bracket. So we say 3.5, but it's between 3.5 to 3.7, let's say.
Okay.
So when you do actually talk to a lab and you want to create and formulate a product, you give all this criteria, all these parameters that you want to, and then the purpose of the lab is to either give you something that you don't really look at, as Dr. Skotnicki was saying, who knows? But then some labs are actually, giving you the studies on the stability of the vitamin C, on its efficacy. You do something also called a challenge test, which you pretty much accelerate the product in time to see how it's going to perform, how it's going to react with every environmental. And so all these things, obviously, they cost money and they're an investment from the company. So it depends what you buy and where you buy, and you need to read. And some of the companies, they don't give you that information. Usually medical graded product, they will. Some of them. Yeah.
That's where there's some benefit there, like a medical grade. Because even that, we've had that conversation at conferences and things like that. There's so many medical grade lines now. But at least, the ones that we have some information on some of their formulations. So that is helpful.
Yeah.
And I think because there's more study going into it, and more, the formula is better generally, they're more expensive.
Yeah.
Right. So price can be.
It can be, not always, but it can be. Yeah, for sure. And that's where you get, it's not the ingredients so much. That's where your head will explode, because you've got 40 vitamin C's. A lot of them are medical grade, and they're all saying they're the best things in sliced bread. Which one do you choose? So some of it is where you can get some guidance from going to a dermatologist, but then you can also have conflict of interest when they're trying to sell you something that they have. So it's like, it is tough. It is hard. So, but start with those ingredients that we talked about, and then, find the brands that you, and other people want brands that, are they sustainable? Are they female? Are they B Corp? Like all these other questions can come into it as well. So you can also ask your buddy ChatGPT. Like you can put
that. We're very lucky now.
Although I did do ChatGPT for sensitive skin shampoos, and it was horrible.
Really?
So, because, they make a lot of mistakes. They don't know everything. And sensitive skin is a marketing term. So what ChatGPT knows is what's on the internet.
Yeah,
and that
picked up on all the website pages.
Yeah,
and they're selling their sensitive skin shampoo.
There was a shampoo that was, full of essential oils and all. I was like, no, this is not right. So ChatGPT isn't always the best.
Well, that's why we're doing this podcast, so that we can help people. So what I'm hearing is that vitamin C needs to be stable. It needs to be in an opaque packaging. The MD Formula 1 happens to be very stable and therefore more effective.
Yeah, I mean, you need stability to be for the vitamin C, because if it's not stable, it's not there.
It's not working.
It's not there.
Yeah. It's and then sunscreen. I mean, we know now enough about sunscreen, mineral sunscreens.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've boiled it down sort of a little bit. Vitamin C is a trustworthy source, stable, sunscreen, mineral. We know a lot about sunscreens. Retin-A or retinol.
Or the plant-based retinols, or the retinol. It's not really plant-based. They're retinol alternatives.
Alternatives. Yeah. And so that.
And peptides.
And peptides, yeah. Well, instead of retinol, the peptide.
Yeah, you can also, you can alternate them, right? I kind of do that. I have so many things that I get sent, so I try a lot of things. Yeah. And so right now I'm using a 2% bakuchiol. I have I love our vitamin C, the MD formula, because it's water-based, because I don't like the other ones that are oily and they smell bad. To me, it makes me,
like bacon.
And that's actually, it is. And husbands complain.
Yeah.
When they use it at night.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't like those stinky
smells wonderful.
Yeah, yours is great.
I love it.
And then sometimes I need a break. We had on our podcast, she's such a lovely soul, Whitney Bowe. I don't know if you know Dr. Whitney Bowe. She's a New York derm. And she kind of coined the term skin cycling. Now, we've been doing this as dermatologists forever. It just never was hashtagged, right?
Right.
So then it went viral. She had like 1 million TikTok things. So basically, I do this intuitively. You guys probably do it as well. Like some days your skin just needs a break. So I'll just use like the hyaluronic acid. Why don't you tell the listeners about, so the AHA product is really good. I love it because it's like 6 ingredients. And it just, sometimes when I just want to break, I'll just use that. So
Just that.
just at night. Yeah. I just take have
then
my
in the
skin have a
morning?
break. I'll put my vitamin C and sunscreen on. Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty
Okay.
stable.
because you have beautiful skin and I keep on putting all these things. But again, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, you have beautiful skin too.
So that's another way you can introduce multiple products without using them all together, right? Put the peptide and then put the retinol and then do a mask and then do this. That's kind of passé. The 12-step thing is out.
Yeah.
Right?
So actually, that was my next question. So Korean beauty, like back in the days when I used to work at that big retailer, we used to say like 11-step skin routine, which I still do, by the way, because it's fun. So it's just fun. Between you and I, it's just a fun thing. It doesn't have any interest. Like there's no...
It's self-care.
It's self-care.
Yeah. And you do run the risk of potentially having a problem because one of the things that I think one of your questions you were going to ask about was about formulation. When you formulate in a vacuum, right? So what I mean by that, when you have a product, you have 20 ingredients and you test it for irritation and you test it for this and you test it for that. You don't test it with 5 other products.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't
that is
test
a good point.
Right. Well, that's where the biggest problem comes in with people. That's where I wrote my book, really, was to simplify. If you're having an issue, simplify, because because people come in, what am I allergic to? I said, well, I tested you, you're not allergic, but if you use 10 products, and they each have 30 ingredients, that's 300 ingredients your skin has to deal with. And it just it's like a threshold.
Yeah.
And then you have a rash and you want me to tell you which one?
Yeah.
So just stop everything, use these 3 things, and then let's start again. So if you want to use multiple products, just make sure that you use, and you've had an issue, use the ones that you really like, and then add the ones that are more like you're not really love, because if you have a reaction, it's that last product or the...
Right.
I remember during the pandemic, we actually wrote a blog with our dermatologist in Montreal, Dr. Hakeem, about because during COVID, I guess we weren't putting on makeup. We weren't, at one point everything was shut down for a few weeks. And so we weren't working, we weren't going out. And so we wrote a blog about the effects of not wearing makeup for a little bit. And I remember the net of it was exactly as you're saying, which is basically you're starting a little bit from a clean slate and you kind of get to see which one of your products are aggravators. That you may not have noticed anymore. And so it's kind of like the elimination diet too, like if you have inflammation and you wipe the slate clean, it's a very interesting concept to do that with your skincare every once in a while.
Well, I've coined that. It's called product elimination diet. That's in my book.
Hashtag.
That's a
Product elimination diet.
Yeah. So it's a play on words, like it's a elimination diet with your food, but you do it with your So just to talk about that briefly, it's your hair care touches your face. Your hands touch your face.
Yeah.
So if somebody's having a really serious problem with their face, they're constantly reacting, and I allergy test them and they're negative. So we'll start them on the product elimination. So it's that control their hair product, their face, and their hand.
Wow.
And then we treat them. Then they clear up. Then they reintroduce one product per week. One per week.
How long does this take?
Takes a while.
Wow.
So that's why you reintroduce the products you miss the most.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of always like, if your skin is kind of, a lot of people, I'm very sensitive. So if I'm having, usually because I'm trying things, if I have a reaction, I stop everything. I'll just maybe use the HA or even sometimes nothing. Yeah. And then I'll just, start back up again. Yeah. You mentioned at the beginning, I did go to the North Pole on a humanitarian mission. And, I still remember, I still even get goosebumps. So I was 10 days on the ice. No, just sunscreen, right? And we didn't bathe or shower because we just sort of wiped at the end of the day. And I came into the hotel in Resolute Bay, and I was scared to look because my hair was dirty, but my skin was absolutely glowing.
Oh, wow.
It was the most beautiful.
Despite the cold? You didn't have rosacea and dry skin?
It wasn't windy. And in the north, it's a dry cold. So it's the damp cold that's actually worse. Oh. And it wasn't windy. So, and we had pretty good weather. My skin was glowing. Wow. And I had done absolutely nothing to it for 10
And you think
years.
that's because you left it be for a bit.
I left it be. I was in nature, and I was, it was beautiful. Yeah. And then within 48 hours in this hotel, like it was
back to
the recycled air.
You have a hot shower, and then your skin's all red and blotchy. Yeah. Like it is incredible. And people tell this story too if they go camping. right?
Right.
You know, they come back and their skin just feels like it's reset.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing all this shit to it. Excuse my
Well,
language.
on vacation, I see it too. Like when there's I don't have time, or I'm with the kids. And
I always thought it was the
I don't-
salt water. You know,
maybe
the ocean
too,
water.
but
I think thought it was so.
It's probably a bit of everything, and also, you know, decreased cortisol levels because you're not stressed.
That's a
out.
big one.
Yeah, we had a great episode with a dermatologist from New York who's a psychiatrist and a dermatologist, and we talked really about all the things that affect your glow that aren't just your skin barrier, right?
Oh my God, can we talk about this?
Sleep, exercise, you know, doing something nice for yourself, like
Really, that shows in your skin.
because you're decreasing cortisol levels, right?
Stress shows in your skin. I just want to go back to this for a second.
Have you never seen like somebody that's gone through a divorce or gone through something,
Yeah.
their parents died, or
You're right.
it really shows on your face. And sleeping,
Yeah.
sleeping,
Oh, absolutely.
huge, massive, yeah.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of hormones released in those
Yeah.
types of things when they're not working.
Yeah.
That and they all go through a path where you increase inflammation.
So Dr. Skotnicki mentioned something about the HA. So I do want to take a moment.
Of course.
Shadi's very humble about the MDF line, but I do want to go back to the HA recharge. So we recently won the L Grand Prix. Did I say that correctly?
The El
Canada?
So I'm going to say it in French. The El Canada Grand Prix
Even prettier.
for best night serum, right?
For the best night serum,
yeah.
over $100.
Over $100, right? Because they have different categories.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
So very, very proud
Yeah.
of this prize.
Why do you think we won it?
I think because there's hundreds of products that
Yeah.
are being,
That are sent in.
that are sent in and that are being tried. So and also
Unlabeled.
unlabeled. It's like completely blind,
Yeah.
and people try it.
Yeah.
I think we won because it's a very simplistic formulation.
Yeah.
It's very simple. As Dr. Skotnicki was saying, like hyaluronic acid is like a magnet for water.
Yeah.
It's like when you take a piece of sugar and you put water in it, it just retains it. So
Yeah.
that's what hyaluronic acid does. So basically, when you put like the HA recharge on your face, you see this immediate plump
Yeah.
when you wear it. It smells nice.
Oh,
It glides
I love
on. It's very simple. So, and it goes with every single
Yeah.
skin routine. And I think that's one of the things for MD Formula is that there's three things for me that stand out is that it's medical graded. So you have a high percentage of hyaluronic acid, which is 2.5% with 5 different molecular weights, which usually in the market you see 3 or 4 different weights.
For the people.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
For the
What is
people,
the
it means-
molecular
so
weight?
Maybe Dr. Skotnicki can talk about the molecular weight. If
Well,
you're
I mean,
comfortable.
it's about your skin is it's a defense mechanism. It's a permeable barrier. It's actually amazing, really. It's like the diameter of a hair shaft, but it keeps all this bad stuff out and keeps all this good stuff in. And it's evolved with us as human beings. Like when we were animals, we were hairy. It's really evolved, and so you can't just get anything through there. Right? You can't have a large.
It's its job to protect us.
Hyaluronic acid is a large molecule.
Yeah.
And that was some of the pushback when they first came on the market. It was like, it's too big of a molecule. It's not going anywhere. It's sitting on the surface of the skin. So you can take sections of it or pieces of it. So that's the molecular weight jargon, right? So you're just taking, instead of taking the whole pizza, you're taking a slice, right? And so those are getting through into the skin a little bit easier.
So they're breaking it down.
Yeah, and you have many different types. Like you said, there's not just one. There's 4 because some may penetrate different levels, and so it's a very nice product.
Yeah, it really seeps into the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won in the night serum category, but
Yes. Yeah.
I
You
actually
can
use it.
yeah, you
I
can
use it in the
day
morning
and
because I
night.
find when I don't use it, I don't radiate as much. I don't have that glow. And being on Teams all day long, at one point I'd run out and I'd forgotten to go and get some. And every time I was on a Teams call, I was like, oh man, I look tired.
Filter.
So, you increase a soft focus and you realize you're at max. And
I think
then I realized I ran out of HA.
Right.
Of HA recharge. Right. Yeah.
I think that just going back to our radiant skin, I mean, that is one way of getting radiant skin is to use some hyaluronic acid should be a staple in most people's, kits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
it's a
what's fun
basic-
also is that you can incorporate this product in any skincare routine that you already have. It's easy to put in. There's no, it's a very simple.
And that would be something really great for tweens, and also for people that are on, I think something called isotretinoin, which is a medication that used to treat acne that makes you dry.
Right,
if you have eczema, if you have rosacea, those types of things. So it's a great product for that.
I want to dabble a little bit. I have some friends, and again, we won't name brands, but I have some friends that have purchased very price accessible products. And, that swear that it works just as well for, a fraction of the cost. Say like the no-name brands or things like that, or the brands that pride themselves on being low cost because they don't need to be high cost in a way. Like in a sense that they're marketing themselves as the anti-marketed brand.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to.
I know what you're saying.
Okay,
I know what you're talking about.
Everybody knows who you're talking about.
And so
I don't think they're going to sue you or anything.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, that's their marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And, there is a lot to be said for the fact that a lot of the products that we make, and then the cost of making them, like the raw materials and the packaging isn't much, but it's the science part. So it's like, and the sourcing, right? Are they sustainable? The packaging, is it sustainable? Are you doing other types of things with your company? So that the price may be more expensive with respect to that, or you did a clinical study.
Yeah.
And for some of these lower ends, they never give us information about, I actually don't know if it's in there. Like,
so you can't say whether or not it's
well,
effective.
they can't. I'm sure if some lab took them and, was that lab that was doing all that testing with the benzoyl peroxide and showed it had benzene. I mean, we don't know if there's a vitamin C that's stable in there, the lower end products, because they don't provide us with that data.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've also tried a lot of those products. I guess sent a lot of things, as I said. So I think there's a place for all of it in the market.
Right.
The price differential is sometimes difficult to discuss, for some of the brands. Yeah.
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 You've worked with, many different brands that we named in the beginning. How is that process? Like, how do you decide to work with a brand? Why?
Right.
And also, how are these brands formulated?
Well, most of the brands I've worked with are dermocosmetic brands, right? So they already have a focus on, problematic skin or skin that is eczema prone, rosacea prone, and, their formulas are directed, because that's kind of my shtick. That's what I'm known for and good at. And I align myself with those types of brands, and they seek me out as well. So I like to work with a brand that, they understand what the allergens are, and that because those things don't need to be put into skincare, and they really shouldn't be put into skincare if they're marketed for people with problem skin.
Yeah.
Right.
And certainly not for children, pediatric type skin. So, the process is fairly organic. Like they usually seek me out, and if I don't like their formulas, or I don't think they're science backed, I say no more than I say yes. And as the years have gone on, I got more and more people sending me things and asking me things, and I usually say no.
Yeah. Because
I can't represent something that I've said before. I don't like essential oils necessarily in high concentrations. I've actually changed my tune a little bit on that, because the concentrations that some of these young brands they're very, very tiny. So, and let's face it, people do like smells with things.
Yeah.
So I have to be cognizant and have choices for patients. I can't have any fragrance in anything.
I mean, to your point, it depends on what you were saying earlier. It depends on who you are. If it aggravates you, that might be a source of aggravation.
Yeah.
Fragrances do nothing on me, and on my kids, they do a lot of bad. And so, you gotta, you gotta kind of dose that and see, according to your skin, if you have a highly sensitive skin, essential oils might be something you cut out to begin with.
Yeah. And I think too, that's where we come back to the multiple products. Like, if you're using 6 products on your face, make sure only maybe 2 have some scents and things. Because that the accumulation of those kinds of things, that's where people tip into irritation.
So, we talked about marketing earlier, and I believe that sometimes concepts are marketed just as much as brands or people.
Yep.
and, the whole paraben free, that to a certain extent is a marketing tactic
It is now.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Tell us about that.
paraben debate is pretty much over.
Yeah.
Not because there's a problem with parabens. As dermatologists, we have countless articles published. Like, there was one just a few years ago reviewing all the science, right? Actually, let's digress for a second. Paraben is a group of preservatives that is used in skincare and actually more so in food.
Yeah.
In skincare, there's like 10 to 12 different individual paraben preservatives. They've all been pretty much banned and not used, except for a few, because some of them did really bind to estrogen. But the 2 or 3 that are used, methylparaben and I think it's butylparaben or ethylparaben, they bind estrogen very, very minimally, and the concentrations are very strictly controlled.
Okay.
And paraben's an excellent preservative. But the problem is, in the court of public opinion, people won't use them. So the companies have no choices but to stop using them because people aren't going to buy their product.
Yeah.
So it's too bad because they are good preservatives. And, the European Union is I do a whole episode on regulation and Europe is really leading that discussion, and they still allow ethyl and methylparaben in less than 0.01% and not in anything under the arm because of the breast tissue. So it's not like it's not being regulated. But it doesn't matter because people won't use it. So you're right. When it's on a package, it's mostly for marketing now.
Yeah. And also, I think the association, you're talking about estrogen and the hormonal impact, but as somebody who, looks at it from another lens, it almost feels like those things give you cancer more than our hormone. Like, I feel like these things are villainized to the point where toxic means they'll give you cancer. And so it's like paraben will give you cancer. There's paraben and there's
there's BHT, there's all kind of
very dramatic.
Okay, so I like your point, and this is something that I often try to explain to patients. The whole toxic is a bad word because doesn't even make sense for this context. It's like a poison if you look it up in the dictionary. Okay, so let's just use the paraben. So paraben won't give you so somebody has a rash,
right?
The knee-jerk response is, I'm going to go more natural.
Yeah,
I'm going to use non-toxic because I have a rash. Makes no sense. Okay, because what you're saying is that the things that are often toxic are the things that might give you cancer, not a rash.
Cancer.
Okay? Right? Or they might hurt the environment.
Right.
Or they might be hormone disruptive.
Yeah.
So that's nowhere in the discussion was there a rash.
Right.
So people are confused. So they go to natural and they don't get better because that's the same stuff that they're reacting to. It's usually the fragrances and the essential oils and things like that. There's a couple studies showing in lavender, some forms of lavender essential oil, there are hormone disrupting individual chemicals. Essential oil is like a 50 to 100 individual chemicals in the essential oil. Lavender's not one thing.
Okay.
So think about it. You're taking the essence of a plant.
Yeah.
If you took the essence of a human, got rid of all the water and just put us down to powder. Right. Is that one chemical?
Yeah, no.
So essential oils are incredibly complex. And we kind of got off track there, but I don't love the term toxic. And if you have a rash, you should use something that is made for eczematous skin, skin that is sensitive is marketing too. You can't go by that. But fragrance free, 10 ingredients.
But I think that's the reason why the whole natural thing. I think it's because people are like, I raised a white flag. This is too overwhelming. This is too confusing. I'm just going to go with what's natural because otherwise I can't navigate this very crazy world. But natural doesn't necessarily mean.
No, I think the pendulum has swung on that. I think people are much more aware. The majority of people, not everybody. And you're right. And some of that was, you've got to give credit to the public too I want more transparency. Right. I want to know what's in this stuff. Did you know that before 1996, companies did not have to put their ingredients on the label in Canada?
That's not that long ago.
No, it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
So you didn't even know what the hell was in it.
Yeah.
So then we've gone to okay, we know what's in it, but why is all this stuff in it? Why are we using formaldehyde releasing preservatives when formaldehyde is a carcinogen? Yeah, so like the public starts asking questions, and it's good because it's forced the hands of companies to really look at it more. And if you're a multinational company and you want to sell in Europe, you have to follow European guidelines.
Yeah.
The big outlier still is the U.S. Like they've made some inroads. They passed a new legislation in 2023 called the Modern Cosmetic Act. It hadn't been changed since 1948.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know what's going to happen now with the new administration. So a lot of things will probably be stalled.
Well, they've got other priorities.
Yeah.
And also one thing that I wanted to mention is what I hear is sometimes we want to go away from those ingredients, those preservative, by adding others that we have no idea how they can, act on, like our hormones and everything. So it's sometimes a bad trade, right?
Yeah. Right. But it also, again, sometimes pushes cosmetic companies to start thinking outside the box. Like they can use pH. They can lower the pH of a product to try to preserve it. They can, some people are looking at different bacterial cultures. I mean, you get novel, you become more creative when you have a problem that you have to solve. And the problem is being pushed somewhat by the conversation in the public. Yeah. So there's some good stuff too.
That's what we do with MD Formula.
Yeah.
We use a lot of natural preservatives like sodium livonates and all these.
But preservatives is another word that's been villainized, but that is necessary in these products. That's another example of sort of a marketed trend that is seen as very negatively, but we need preservatives in our products.
Well, there was that company, it was a Jessica Alba's company, and Honest they had a whole batch of wipes that had mold on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you need preservative. You put water in something, you need preservative. So it is a necessary evil, and but there are novel ways of doing it, and without using some of the things that we just talked about, formaldehyde, paraben.
Let's play a game.
Yes.
We already played it a little bit, but let's do it. Okay. So we have 7 ingredients.
Okay.
We're going to ask you to scale those ingredients from 1 to 7, 7 being the best, and 1 being the worst, let's say, or the less efficient, let's say, so that we don't underestimate any of these ingredients. So I'm going to list all of these ingredients. If you like them, say 7 or 6 or 5. If you like them, 7, 6, 5. If you don't like them, 1, 2, 3. Like, it's great. So hyaluronic acid.
Ranking them between 1 and 7.
Yeah.
Some being the best.
7
being the best.
Okay. Hyaluronic acid?
Yeah.
Yeah. 7.
Well, you don't know what's coming up next.
No, but you said in order.
Just because you're not gonna, maybe you're gonna remember. I wouldn't remember what you said. So anyway,
you can debunk someone,
you can
like an ingredient, and replace
vitamin
it.
C.
Okay, so
You said 7 for hyaluronic acid.
Oh no, I thought I was like, okay, can we do it differently?
Yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being poor evidence, not a lot of science, whatever, and 7 being good efficacy. So each one will have its own number. Okay.
Ideally, yes, but
that's not how the game's working. Then I need to know.
That's the funny part.
I need to know all of them. I'll give you all of them. So hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, retinol, niacinamide, ingested collagen, exosome, and topical estrogen.
Okay, so number 1 for me would be retin A. Okay. Number 2 would be vitamin C. Number 3 would be hyaluronic acid. Number 4 would be niacinamide. 5, topical estrogen. So the problem with topical estrogen is there's not really great studies for safety. There's some studies to show that it works, and we know it works. I mean, it works in the vaginal wall. It causes it to thicken. That's what it does. And then when you remove it, it's gone. But the problem, we had a menopause specialist on one of our episodes, and there is some studies, they're not robust, but we don't have safety studies. So I don't like to recommend things that we don't have safety for.
What could happen? You mean like a skin reaction?
No, it could be absorbed into the system. And you don't want unopposed estrogen, right? That can drive cancers. Breast cancers, endocrine cancers, right?
I see.
Okay, so there's no doubt that they do something to the skin, but that's not the question. The question is the safety data. If we had safety data, then we could recommend it easily.
But if you take estrogen, I want to go down this rabbit hole. Yeah. If you take, say, estrogen for a perimenopausal or menopausal
hormone replacement therapy,
and then you take topical estrogen.
It's always counterbalanced with progesterone. You never take it alone.
Yeah.
Now, you take estrogen vaginally because it's not absorbed systemically. It only stays in the vaginal wall. So you don't take estrogen unopposed without progesterone. So that's the issue. It's not that it doesn't do something for the wrinkles. Like it probably does. It's just and it may be perfectly safe. It's just we don't have.
We just don't know yet.
We don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. After that, exosomes. They're very early. They seem promising. They're certainly cool. And we can have a little talk about that if you like. And then ingested collagen's the least, because the studies are. There are some studies. I do put it in my coffee when I remember. But it's very low efficacy.
I read that it's more for the joints and what it's doing internally than your actual skin quality.
Yeah, I mean, any collagen is going to help the ligaments, the joints, not necessarily your bones, because they're not collagen, but well, they are. They're a different type of collagen, and then your skin. Yeah. So, but it's the study of the 7 of these that you told me. It's the least. Yeah.
Okay, so we did it 1 to 7 with Dr. Skotnicki.
Do you want to do treatments?
Okay. Okay, so since there's only 5, let's put them on a scale of what you would do. Like, what do you call it? Like, you can't have them all in the same place. Well, actually, you just did that with ingredients. We'll do the same thing with ingredients.
Just give me.
I overcomplicated that.
Give me the 5, and then I'll rank them.
Okay, so rank them from 1 to 5. 1 being the best. I think we're doing 1 is the best, right, Dr. Skotnicki? Okay. So gua sha, microneedling, all the rage. BBL, by BBL, I mean it's intense pulse light. It's advanced intense pulse light. So a lot of people know it as IPL. We have it as Forever Young BBL. Red light therapy, those masks that we're seeing everywhere, and I do want to talk about that. And slugging.
Right. So number 1 would be the IPL BBL. Yes. Number 2 would be microneedling. But microneedling, we also have to quantify or qualify the depth.
Yep.
I think if you're just at like less than 1 millimeter, it's not so great. So you want to do 2 to 3, where you're getting down into the deeper areas of the collagen, the dermis. Red light therapy, there is some decent studies, but you have to do it daily.
Yeah.
And some I have done, I didn't get paid by them, but Current Body is a company that makes red light mask, and they have data. They have some scientific studies to back up. And so, because the light might be crap, right? It has to be, Okay. And then gua sha, gua sha is kind of interesting. The whole Chinese type of therapy. Again, you have to do it routinely.
Yeah.
And if you do it really properly, it hurts, right? And you can actually break some blood vessels, but it can decrease lymphatic drainage or increase lymphatic drainage. And like you see some of those videos when people are doing it, and it really does.
They do the half face.
Yeah.
What I always wonder is, does it go away after 20 minutes?
Well, but you are decreasing lymphatic, like you're increasing lymphatic drainage, which is a good thing. Okay. Is it, taking off years of your life? No. And then slugging, I'm not even going to put on the list.
It doesn't get to be on the list.
We wanted to be on the list, so
it's not going to be on the list.
Tell everyone what slugging is.
Well, it's putting Vaseline on your face and going to bed, right? So, I went to a talk once. I wish I could remember who I learned this from, but when I have parents bring their kids in with eczema and they're like, they will only use Vaseline. I go, okay, so think of your kid's skin like a cake, multiple layers. So you got a dry cake and you cover it with Vaseline. Is that going to help? So you need, the slugging is just sitting there. It's not really doing that much. But there also have been studies to show that Vaseline and mineral oil aren't as pore clogging as we thought.
Okay.
So it's not really doing anything. You're just gooping up your face at night, and in the morning you might have a bit of a, like the cake analogy again.
Right. It just doesn't seep in.
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think to your point, it's the radiant skin myth that some people on
the,
social media put.
Yeah.
I mean, if you leave it on there, sure, you'll look radiant.
Yeah, exactly.
No, thanks. It's like rosemary oil for your hair. Like there's some studies to show it does a little bit. They actually compared rosemary oil with Rogaine or minoxidil 5%. And there is some improvement comparable, but you have to use it all the time.
3 times a day.
And it multiple times a day, and it's smelly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we just came out with an elixir.
Yes, we did.
Tell us about the elixir for your hair.
Well, it's a great product that you actually put on your scalp.
Yeah.
It's been studied against minoxidil. You only have to use it twice, to your point, Dr. Skotnicki. So you don't have to wear it like 3 or 4 times a day. It has 3 main ingredients in here. So you have obviously the usual rosemary, you have biotin, which are, well-known ingredients. But you have also like a studied ingredients that comes from Italy, which is a like a patented ingredient called Stimucap. And this is the ingredient that's been compared versus minoxidil. So you see like a great improvement after 60 days. So that's the lab promise for a result. You use it twice a day. The cool thing about this product, and we did an extensive research to find the right product, is that you can use it on clean hair. If you just did your blowout and you have beautiful hair, you can still, it's not oily. So it's great. And you just massage it on your hair, and we've seen great results. So we have like before and afters coming up.
Can I ask you a question? Is the rosemary, so it's extracted from rosemary?
So Stimucap is a different ingredient because it's patented. We don't really know what's in there.
But you did mention you have rosemary oil in the product.
There is rosemary oil. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. In addition to
because I'm not sure if the rosemary decreases DHT. I wasn't sure on so any kind of, most of these scalp things that are coming out have something that decrease DHT.
What's DHT?
Dihydroxytestosterone, which drives the sort of male-female pattern hair loss.
So it decreases. Wouldn't that be a good thing?
You want to decrease DHT,
right? Exactly.
The hair follicle. Yeah. So a lot of these serums have those types of ingredients, and I think that's actually what rosemary is doing.
Okay.
But you could take the part of, like, again, we're talking about an extract. Extracts are very complex, multiple ingredients within that thing. So you can just take the one that is, doing the work, right? So rather than just smelling like rosemary.
Yeah, it does smell nice. It does smell strong. You have a strong smell, but it goes.
I don't find the elixir smells very strong. Maybe I'm used to it now, but
it smells like herby, rosemary a little bit. But you're probably used to it.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's a great product. Like we've seen.
I love that I can use it on clean hair.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah, that's a plus for sure.
Yeah, I have another.
You'll have to send me some.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, another one that I've purchased from a brand I won't name, but it's very oily.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't put it on as much as I needed to because we're always managing
it's messy.
Our shower days or our hair wash days. Do we want to do the perfect routine?
Let's do the perfect routine.
Go ahead,
So
Shani.
we wanted to ask you. We want to know if you're a 20-year-old. Let's make it simple. What's the perfect routine to start with?
I would say gentle cleanser, SPF, hyaluronic acid as like your basic. You could, in your 20s, you could add some vitamin C and retinol if you wanted.
What about in your 30s?
Definitely, I would add retinol in your 30s, maybe even an eye cream with some peptides.
Okay.
And because I don't like the retinol so much as the eye cream, and there are not too many that actually have it in there because it's irritating. And then you could go even a little higher on your vitamin C in your 30s. So, and then you're going to go in your 40s, right?
Yes. Yeah.
40s would be, again, if you could tolerate a prescription retinoic acid, peptides as another layer, right? Maybe you could alternate it, like we talked about cycling. And then you start to get in your 40s and 50s, you start getting into procedures, right? So you might want to do some IPL if you have brown or a bit of red. You could do microneedling. And actually, you can do microneedling when you're younger, too, if you have melasma. But you're talking very basic, right? And then we're going to get into some neuromodulators, which is Botox
and Dysport.
And then Sculptra, Restylane, biostimulators, fillers, that kind of thing. And then depending on, where you land in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, how much sun damage you've had, you may want to do some resurfacing. So we call them fractionated lasers or halo as one of the ones I have. So those I like the analogy of thinking your skin's like the grass, right? When you aerate the grass comes in thicker and newer. You're doing the same thing to your skin. So you can do those types of things in your later years if you have a lot of wrinkles or you have a lot of sun damage and you need to sort of produce new skin.
Maybe we can each say what we all do every year.
Every year?
Like what do we, what treatments we do? Like, are we comfortable doing that?
I am so bad. Like I have everything at my fingertips and I just never have, I don't have the time to have downtime. I do usually do like an IPL at the end of the sort of summer season and clean up. I have done fractionated laser. I really need to get one done.
Which one do you do?
I have the halo.
Yeah.
And I want to do it around my eyes, but I just don't have the time to have the downtime. I do both neuromodulators regularly. And I do use either retinol or a retinol-like molecule like bakuchiol because I can't tolerate prescription or retinol myself.
What about you, Kai?
So I definitely do Retin-A, probably not as much as I should. So I'm a big empty formula fan. So I do my vitamin C, my HA Recharge, my Biome Restore. I do Forever Calm in the winter because I do have some rosacea. And then in terms of treatments, I'm very religious about at least 3 BBLs. If I do nothing else in a year, if I'm very, very, very busy, I will do my BBLs. And I
would like to do more. I just don't seem to have the time.
Yeah. And then I do a halo every 2 years. I should do it every year, but it's a lot of, well, not a lot of downtime, but it's, a good 2-3 days of downtime. And so to your point, it's difficult to carve that in, but I do find, so funny story, the very first treatment I did at Victoria Park Medispas, before working here, I worked in different industries, nothing to do with aesthetics. And we needed to film an Instagram video, and the very first treatment, and I'm like, I'll be the guinea pig. And it was a halo. Okay. And I hadn't even done a facial before. Oh, geez. And so I just, out of the gate, I'm not very scared about stuff like that. So out of the gate, I just did a halo. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. However, I will tell you that my skin after that halo, I mean, it was starting from nothing. And I was 36, I think.
You probably didn't really need it.
But my skin looked like I'd been born yesterday.
Right.
And so that really hooked me on the halo. And then of course I do fillers under my eyes, and I do neuromodulators for sure.
Well, I'm going to start with the body because we sometimes forget the body, and we have skin everywhere.
The body.
So
very good.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually do, I do, of course, laser hair removal because
you're right.
You need to. And I do M-Sculpt.
Yeah.
Because after having 3 kids, I can see a little bit of sagginess around, my stomach. So I need to address this.
Yeah, the skin tightening with M-Sculpt.
Oh, absolutely.
Around the belly button.
I want to try micro needling on the stomach, but I'm not there yet because I don't have time either. And when I have time, I like to do, let's say 2 BBLs during the year, and then neuro. Unfortunately, I would love to do a halo more often, but same thing. The downtime, the kids, and then the thing, and then this, exercising and all this doesn't really allow it. So, but BBL, I think I would never stop doing BBLs.
Same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It shows. Your skin, we talked about radiance earlier, and you were talking about brown spots. It just kind of evens everything out. Yeah. But what BBL doesn't do that halo does, I'm going to sell you on a halo, is the texture. Yeah. Those fine lines, and to your point about aerating.
Because you're getting new skin. You're creating new skin. Yeah. You're forcing the skin to regrow itself.
Next year. Or 2020. Well, maybe
no. We're going to get it this year. We're getting it this year.
You can also do the halo on the neck and the décollage. Am I saying it right? Décolleté.
Yeah.
En français.
Yeah.
And when you kind of get that crepiness. Yeah. So that's where I really want to get that done because I'm getting old. So I need to get that done on my neck and my neck.
Yeah. They say,
décolleté.
They say like if you want to see a woman's real age.
Yes.
Look at the hands. Not that we're age shaming.
Yeah. No,
we're not age shaming at all. We think aging is a privilege.
No, but you need to take care of your skin, and you need to do these things to.
Well, you also want it to match.
Yes.
That's
a good point. Yeah, definitely.
It's more the matching.
Well, I feel like we've learned a lot today.
So much.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
It was super insightful.
Really fun.
Thank you for all this information. I think we're going to talk even more in the car on our way back.
Yeah. And so just for our audience, Dr. Skotnicki once again works at Victoria Park Medispas in Toronto. We're opening up a brand new location. We're building it from the ground up. It's going to open end of May.
God willing.
It's on the corner of Queen Street West. So right near Eaton Center.
Yep.
Wow.
The financial district.
It's on the north east corner of Bay Street and Queen Street.
Yeah. It's absolutely stunning, and it's really large. It's very large. You'll have other doctors join you as well, which we'll announce soon. We have all these technologies that we spoke about there. We have some body technologies as well. MD formula, if you want to procure some of these wonderful products. We also do sell online at victoriaparklab.ca, and of course on our website, vicpark.com. So vicpark.com is where you can find Dr. Skotnicki and all of these treatments and products that we've talked about. So once again, I'd really like to thank you
Thank you so
from the
much.
bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
For being here. Dr. Skotnicki has a very, very extensive schedule. And so we really do appreciate you taking the time in educating all of us and helping us own our extraordinary.
Great. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. Appreciate it.